Yes, correct. Have you ever wondered how you can reduce or even stop your PMS? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragushia, naturopath and fan of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode today, I'm going to share with you a few little secrets on what you may be able to do to reduce your PMS. At the end of this episode, I'm also going to give you an opportunity to join a health and success-oriented community by clicking below and joining a natural health newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for this. It's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of the Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's question. All questions are kept confidential. I read and answer them as if it was me. Hence why it's called What Would I Do? The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I am not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate and inform you so you are able to take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues with your healthcare professional. Let's get into today's question. I love today's question because I get this so often. It says, I have really bad PMS. What supplements can I take for this? It's a very simple question, but I didn't get much information from it. I'm not unsure what really bad PMS means. Really bad PMS for one person may mean cramps. For the other person, it may mean migraines, headaches, vomiting, nausea. It just depends what PMS symptoms you have. So the more detail I get in a question, the better it is. What supplements I can take for this? Amazing. But I also want to know what supplements you're on at the moment. So the more information you provide me in the question, the better I'm able to answer it. But I'm going to try and answer an overall question for this one. So let's first look at PMS, which is essentially premenstrual syndrome, right? But everyone knows it as PMS. And if you suffer from it, you know exactly what I'm talking about and you feel what I'm talking about. It's a condition that affects a woman's emotional, physical, health and behavioral during certain days of the menstrual cycle, generally just before her menstruation, menses, period, whatever you want to call it, right? These symptoms range from so many things, including some of them are abdominal bloating, abdominal pain, sore breast, acne, food cravings, constipation, diarrhea, headache, sensitivity to light or sound, fatigue, irritability, changes in sleep patterns, anxiety, depression, sadness, emotional outbursts. And you know what? The list goes on. And it looks and it feels different for every individual. So, some questions I have for you is, when did your PMS start? Okay, did it start on your first period? Did it start in your mid-20s? Did it start after you got off the pill? Did it start before you got off the pill? And what does your PMS look like? What symptoms do you have mainly? Some people say, one of the main symptoms I get is I always get a headache. Someone else says, I have nothing but food cravings. Okay, so what are the symptoms that you are having? Because by understanding the symptoms, we're able to pinpoint what may be the best supplement for you. This is just an overall thing, right? What I will do. What makes it worse, right? For some people, I know for myself, what makes it worse is actually winter. I don't really get PMS or cramps, but when I do, it's in winter. And one of the worst ones I've ever had was in New Zealand. Okay, so what makes it worse? And what makes it better? For me, summer makes it better, right? I don't know, maybe, and then you have to look back and be like, what is it? What do I eat differently, or what do I do differently in summer than in winter? I'm definitely more active. I have more vitamin D, right? So many things, right? I eat a more fruit, vegetable-based diet, and so forth. So many things taken into consideration, right? And what does your diet look like at the moment? Are you eating out every day? Are you home cooking? Is it vegetables? Is it meat? Is it processed foods? So forth. Are you on any supplements at the moment? Are you taking any supplements at the moment? Are you taking any medications at the moment? Because we need to understand that any of the supplements that I may mention that I'm going to take, clearly I'm hungry, eat. We have to make sure that doesn't go against each other, contradict each other, right? Contraindicate each other. Are you currently taking any alcohol? Are you currently smoking? Are you taking any drugs? What's your lifestyle like? What's your sleep like? Are you sleeping at all? Are you doing night shift? What's your work? What do you do for work? Like, these are so many things that are so important, right? When did it all start? When does it start, your PMS? Is it 2 days before? Is it after? Is it during your period? And so forth. Have you ever been on a pill? How long were you on it? And when did you stop? And what happened when you got off it? Did it get worse? Did it get better? Is your diet high in anti-inflammatory foods? Do you have any medical condition or diseases, or are you pre-diagnosed with anything? So many other questions I could ask, but I'm keeping it short at the moment because I want to get into what I would do, right? So once you've answered those questions, that will kind of help you understand a little bit about your PMS. What would I do if I had really bad PMS, whatever the definition of that is, and I was looking for some supplements, right? The first thing that I would do is work on my diet first, right? What does that look like? Well, for me, that would look like clean, unprocessed diet, okay? Filled with plants and organic and wholesome foods. Okay, so what that means is low in refined oil, excluding refined oils, cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, and so forth. These are highly anti-inflammatory, and PMS is an inflammatory disease, right? It's inflammation that causes all of these symptoms, right? So that's the number one thing I work on is diet and hydration. Oh, hydration is key, absolute key, but good water. I would work on my lifestyle second. So what does that mean? Working on my lifestyle. That means exercise, being happy and sleeping well, and so many other things with lifestyle, right? Exercising is absolutely key. Get that blood moving, get those cells functioning, and being happy, right? The mindset. Just have a laugh, and you may no longer have PMS, or your period cramps may just drop, right? Make sure you're sleeping, because if you're not sleeping well, sleep is anti-inflammatory. Melatonin itself is anti-inflammatory, and that goes up when we're sleeping, right? So there you have a little bit of a link, right? Then I would work on my liver health, removing toxins, removing smoking, drugs, alcohol, and so forth, right? So once I've done all that work, which may take a couple of months, if not 3-4 months, then I would look at introducing supplements. Because if we don't have the basics right, then how are we going to do anything, right? So if you ask me for top 3 supplements, without knowing your PMS symptoms, without knowing your medical conditions, without knowing if you're pre-diagnosed, if you're allergic to anything, or what your case is, what I would take as a base is magnesium first, right? A good quality magnesium supplement, because it lowers prostaglandins and it helps with our sleep, which essentially is anti-inflammatory. Absolutely key. The second one would be a B complex. A B complex that suits me, right? There's so many B complexes out there, activated, methylated, this, that. You need to ensure you get a good, high quality B supplement, and that does not have folic acid or folate in it, because that will cause drama, especially if you have an MTHFR, SNP polymorphism, and so forth. But essentially, the B vitamins will help with stress, adrenal health, liver health, energy. It can even help with cramps, right? With PMS things, because most of it is, moods, anxiety, and so forth. B complex, amazing. Magnesium, amazing for it. The third one, depending if I was on any other medication and what my playlists were and so forth, is omega-3, right? And it's could be even done through food and diet. Omega-3s. Absolutely amazing anti-inflammatory, amazing fats that are so good for our cellular health, and they also reduce pro-inflammatory markers. So there you have it. We've got magnesium, B complex, and omega-3. There are so many other supplements that can help with PMS, specifically depending on what the PMS symptoms were. If they were more nervous system based, like anxiety, mood, and so forth, we would look at maybe some herbs to calm or regulate the nervous system. If they were more gut related, we'll look at healing the gut in a more sense. If it was more liver related, we'll look at healing more the liver. But this is just an overall, this isn't advice, it's just overall kind of like what I would do if I was in this sense. So there you have it. I hope I shed some light to this question. If you know anyone who would absolutely love this episode, share it with them, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Happy to answer them via the Natural Health Podcast. And if you want to join our health and success oriented community, click below and join the Natural Health newsletter. Bonuses, specials, research, all of these videos sent straight into your inbox every Friday, so you can just share it, you can just click on it and watch it straight from there and binge all weekend on getting your health on track. There you have it. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.